Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am here, I am here, I am here. Are you? Good evening, good evening. Just letting you know I am here, I am here. We do apologize. We're a few minutes behind our start time. We do apologize. We are here, we are rolling. Let everyone know that we are here. Welcome to Phoenix Free Press via Free Press 268. Yes, we are via Free Press 268. Good evening. Good evening. Remember to share the live. Remember to let everyone know that we are here. I'm going to give you some time to let everyone know that you're here. I know that individuals were wondering if we're coming live with our exclusive tonight. And I see individuals are asking for the link because they're not finding me on my personal Facebook page. So, guys, please share the live as I give everyone an opportunity and time to get into the Free Press 268 Facebook page. Free Press 268, that's where we're coming live from tonight. It's an exclusive, and we are discussing the Privy Council verdict. I'm going to share this now. 1 second. Giving you some time too for you to share. Send what? Somebody says, send me the link. Sending you guys the link right now. Let me just send a note also to one of our guests. Okay. Hey, Jackie, you just need to turn on the audio. I saw when you came in the chat room. So once you come in the chat room, just press your audio on, and then you can add the camera when you're ready. But the audio will give you an opportunity to be heard. All right, guys. Just sent the link out. Share it, share it, share it. Let everyone know that we're here. The Privy Council has been in today. The verdict was in today. The Privy Council verdict is in today. 27th day of February 2024. It was in today, London Privy Council. I'm going to read a few aspects of or a few snippets, I should say, of the judgment. I know many individuals read the judgment, but I think the most important thing is to let you know that I attended the Zoom briefing that they had this afternoon, and I have quite a few updates. I took notes. We took notes. So our guest tonight, I mentioned, would be Mr. John Mussington himself, but I have Miss Jackie Frank herself, which is such a pleasure. So tonight you're getting both myself and John Mussington, and you're getting Jackie Frank. It's an honor indeed to have her here on the platform tonight. She's here, and as we wait to have John join us, we're going to have her join us. And we get our conversation going. I know you're waiting. I know you want to celebrate. You want to celebrate with her. I think, Jackie, once the audio and the video is not on, I wouldn't see you. I was seeing you just now, and everything was fine. So just go back to what you were doing in that way. Guys, everyone is, I'm just trying to we're doing some housekeeping setting up. Do apologize. 1 second. What did I do? Okay, there it is. 1 second. Just trying to get our guest sorted out. So, Jackie, I can see you, but just add the audio and video for your the device that you're using to chat with us from. But we're going to get started. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Phoenix Free Press via Free Press 268 tonight. It's an exclusive. We're doing an exclusive interview, a chat with Jackie Frank, and Mr. John Mussington, who both took their case to the Privy Council, a case regarding this case at the Privy Council is regarding stand-in. If Jackie Frank and Mr. John Mussington, as citizens of Antigua and Barbuda, but specifically of Barbuda, if they have stand-in to challenge the government of Antigua and Barbuda, the DCA, and the airport authority also in the development of the airport. So that case was actually heard on the 8th of November 2023 here in London at the London Privy Council. Jackie and John were both here in person, and the lords presented. They heard the case, they heard both sides, and the verdict came in today. And if you've gotten the news, Jackie and John, the Privy Council has declared that Jackie and John does have standing, but it didn't just say that they have standing with regards to. Okay, all right. 1 second, let me see, Jackie. All right. Yes, but Jackie, just put on your video and your audio as you did before, and then I'll add you to the live. I do apologize, guys. We'll get it sorted. Don't worry. And then we're rolling. We get there. So I see your message, Jackie. Yes. So let's get to that, because if you have a copy of the judgment, it's definitely worth a good read. It's 22 pages of good read, of a good read. But I'm going to take you down to the bottom part. I'm going to take you down to maybe about paragraph 56, according to lawyer Leslie. This is one of the lawyers on the case, and according to our notes from today at today's briefing, which is quite interesting. Yes. So for 58, paragraph 58, should I get to the paragraph? I see that John is here. Should I get to the paragraph, or should we wait to dissect everything? Because I know I'm anxious to read and to, give the information that's here. But I see John is here, and we're gonna. John. We're just trying to get Jackie sorted. Jackie, once you join the chat room, just add your video and your audio.
Okay, so just
John.
read first and then come in because I'm not quite settled yet. Okay, so get Jackie and then we.
Okay, perfect. All right. So John is here, and everybody's getting settled. So we're going to prepare, and when everybody's good to go, we're going to go. So let's get back to the document. Yes. So just to give you an overview today, the judgment actually came in via document on the London Privy Council website. It was not an in-person reading of the judgment at 11 a.m. today, UK time. That judgment is being circulated. It's in the news. We have a copy here. I have a copy in my WhatsApp if anyone needs it. It's also online at the JCPC website that you can actually download it. So today at the briefing, there's quite a few things that was mentioned, and I'm just going to go through I'm just giving you snippets because you're getting an update, a briefing and an update of what was said and what transpired. So I have each of the speakers, I have their names, and I'm just going to give you snippets of today's discussion and an explanation of it. So Leslie basically wanted to give an outline of what transpired so that you can understand. So in everything that I'm going to repeat here is just a little bit of notes, some quotes, the audio of the recording, of course, from the briefing today. Glenn would decide if they're going to make that public or not. but I'm just going to give as much information as I can as possible. So one of the things that Leslie said, the main thing is the EIA, the Environmental Impact Assessment. He said that they've been asking for an environmental impact assessment since 2017. He said he's asking for them to provide an EIA. It's never been done, or see, it could be either of two things. He's saying it's never been done, or it's not really worth the paper it's on, kind of thing. So it cannot really be presented. But he's saying, based on proper planning procedures, it is evident, and it was evident to the lords at the Privy Council, that proper planning procedures were not followed. It also mentioned that standing, as in John and Jackie, they have an ability to bring the case to challenge the government of Antigua and Barbuda, being that they're residents. It also, not that it doesn't give them the right, but it also bring this, the government brought the challenge, and that case was actually thrown out, and it affected the land and what happens with the land per se. Just my scribbles, so trust you understand. um, so the government was saying, basically, the government's argument was that, with regards to the standing argument, let me try to get it like the lawyers would get it, okay? Because we're having an in-depth discussion here. So with regards to standing, the government is basically saying that they shouldn't be made, not because they're bare residents. That doesn't give them the right. That's it. You see, I'm getting it. Exactly how Leslie said it. So being a mere resident doesn't give them the right, or give you the right, the individual the right, to challenge by the way of judicial review. That's it. Yes. Which, of course, is now not actually accurate, because, it has been declared that John and Jackie does have standing. He said that in bringing the case, giving us a walkthrough of the case, the High Court actually accepted that this challenge with regards to, being a mere resident. Um, the government appealed the decision, and let's get to the meat of 5 reasons. He basically was handing out 5 reasons for standing of the appellant, the EIA failure to follow due process. So these are things that the lawyer himself, according to the argument presented on behalf of John and Jackie, these are the 5 points that he wanted to highlight, are the 5 reasons for the judgment or the decision that they have standing. So one, standing of the appellant basically is saying that they have legal rights to bring a case in environmental matters. So with regards to proximity of the airport, with regards to noise and disruption, there is some standing there. The EIA, which is the Environmental Impact Assessment, the case basically underscores that through the EIA, either it was not done, or there are certain due procedures were not followed, or it wasn't presented, and it's limited not just to an airport, but an EIA is important to any project when it comes to environmental impact assessments. Um, I see I'm getting calls, guys. I see I'm getting calls, but I'm not able to take the calls now. I think it's guys. I think it's Jackie we're trying to sort out. I do apologize. Hold on 1 second. Hey, sis. Hello. No, I'm on the Free Press 268 page, the Facebook page. Guys, my apologies. Really. All right. So I was at the second point of the EIA. The case underscoring that a thorough EIA is necessary. Doesn't matter what it's to an limited to an airport as the project. The third point, failure to follow due process. With proper planning, lack of public consultation, and the necessity for transparency in making decisions. Any kind of decision that it has to do with the environment, with the people that live there, with the residents within that particular community or area. The fourth point is community participation community participation and environmental justice. Now, this is the fourth point being brought across by lawyer Leslie, and this from today's debriefing, just given an explanation of that 22-page document that was presented by the Lords from the Privy Council of the hearing that we had on the 8th of November 2023. Yes, so community participation and environmental justice. It mentioned Leslie brave efforts to bring failures um, with environmental justice. And on that community participation and environmental justice, he also mentioned expertise in environmental matters. And it's basically saying that not only experts have standing in legal matters, that you don't have to be an expert in a particular area, but you can provide, um, if you can validate and provide information to show that what is happening or this particular project that's happening in my area, right, it's affecting our health. John is here and John is going to break it down in more details. I'm just doing the best I can, guys. I'm setting the foundation, but I'm not using concrete. Uh, yes. So what happens next was a big question, but I think I would leave that for when John and Jackie joins for us to speak. Other points, some points and questions too. Gerard from Glan, his presentation was on point. I think literally everything that he was saying, everything that Gerard was saying, I literally wanted to scribble everything, you know. I couldn't, and I'm going to try and get his full presentation so I can present it here on the platform. But when he started speaking, he basically said the first thing that he said is that Barbudans are not against development. That's something that he said. He said Barbudans are not against development. He said it's interesting to listen that the central government can then I couldn't like write everything that he was saying exactly that he's saying it, but he's basically trying to say exclude and exempt Barbudans from any kind of development that you're going to do in Barbuda. They're not against development, but why would you basically want to exclude them? And also, he mentioned a few key things which I took notes of, like luxury enclave of wealthy investors, and bulldozers coming within a week of the hurricane. He mentioned rich, ultra wealthy investors, and and they're basically purchasing into illegality. There's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of stuff here, and I have John. I think John is ready. He can give me a nod if he is, and we can bring him in and let him handle the conversation tonight. I'm happy to have him, and we'll get Jackie sorted out. Hey, John,
Yes,
good
when
evening.
you're ready,
Welcome and
Nikki.
congratulations.
Yes, thank you, Nikki. And thanks for the
How are you
support
doing?
and thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Of course. Of
Yes.
course. How are you feeling? How have you been for the last few hours? I know your phone is ringing off the hook. Everybody's calling and congratulating you. How you feeling?
Well, not only the calls, but then the necessary strategizing that needs to happen behind the scenes and the
Mm-hmm.
necessary dissemination of information, because just as how you are there trying to explain to your audience
Mm-hmm.
what the decision actually means, these are the things that we have to do on the ground as well in terms of
Mm-hmm.
our people so that they can understand fully what exactly went down and what the next step should be. So it has been a really full day in terms of breaking it down for people and making sure persons are on the same page so we know where we're going and we can go there together and with
Mm-hmm.
force.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to talk about the next steps, but before we speak about that, I want you to
Got that?
basically. Can you hear us? You were moving just now. Are you
Yes.
stationary now? Because it's better when you're stationary with the audio and the internet. Guys, we have to understand. John is on the go. We're getting an exclusive here. John, are you there? I think he's going to drop out and then come back in. I don't know how Jackie's not getting in. Jackie says she's having some issues. Let me send her the link again. I don't know. How come is that? How is that happening? You guys want to hear from Jackie too, right? Hey Jackie, can you try again? Try the link again and then I'll see what happens. And just do the audio and video and just come right in and let me try to add you straight to the platform and see. No,
Yeah,
you guys are
sometimes
not
Nikki,
late. You guys are not,
the
the
service
internet.
provider.
Yes, we got you back. You see? We almost had you there. Yes, guys. So we're gonna keep trying. I think John is gonna jump back in. But even if we're going to, what I'm gonna do too, I'm gonna do a pre-recorded privately with John, so we can sit down again and go a little bit more in depth for you to understand exactly what's happening because it is a big deal. It's a big thing. There's a lot of information here that I want to share. This key question that somebody had asked, because I'm just gonna try and share information the best way I could. A key question that somebody asked at the briefing today was, can the government open and use the airport? Can the government open and use the airport? I was listening to ABS this evening, but I think I joined a bit late and I missed most of what um, the lawyer, Mr. Dorset, for the government for this case. Because, yes, all right. Yes, for this particular case, Mr. Dorset was responding, and I didn't quite catch everything that he was saying, but I got a little bit of it, and I thought I'll share it with you guys as we wait for John to jump back in.
To the extent that those corrections, remedial measures have to be made, the government.
And then they kind of lost his connection there, so we'd have to try and get him ourselves. But John is back, and let's jump back to John. Hey,
Okay,
John.
I'm hearing you loud and clear. Yes,
Yes. Are we seeing you nice too? Good, good. I was just about to play a
good.
little. I was just about to play a little clip of the lawyer, Dr. Dorset. He was responding on ABS this evening in the news, and he was basically
Mhm.
speaking about having to fix whatever errors, if there might be errors and stuff like that. I know also in today's briefing, you mentioned something of the with regards to the response that Dr. Dorset had made this
Mhm.
morning when the news came out. So I'd want you to address that, and then we would go back into you sharing your points from today, and we can take it from there.
Yes, one of the first things that jumped out at me, and since you brought up the question of the government's lawyer, Dr. Darset, on the airways down here, the same statement was made that okay, the airport is already built. The ball is now back in Barbuda's court, and let's see if they're gonna take down an entire airport that's already there. And that's the same argument he made in front of the Privy Council judges, which they knocked down, in that you can't expect to have committed a crime against somebody and then use the excuse that it has already happened, so let's move on. No,
Mhm.
it doesn't work that way. Okay? And that's why you realize that our lawyer, Leslie Thomas, he made the point that the courts have leeway in terms of certain remedies that they can take, and note the term remedy, because if you have done something to cause hurt, to cause disruption, you have to fix it. And fix it don't mean that use the excuse that it's already happened, so let's move on. No, that's not a remedy. Right? So that was something that came out strongly to me in this morning's thing. And I noticed as well, Nikki, you read out certain parts of the judgment which speak about the environmental impact assessment and the
Mhm.
physical planning act, which requires that these assessments be done. Because when you're talking about building something like an airport, developments as that are as crucial as airports, which people's lives depend on, because you
Yes.
have aircraft carrying human beings, And you cannot just willy-nilly just decide you're going to build an airport and don't bother to do the actual environmental assessment that are required by the Physical Planning Act. And the fact that you are asking for this report and you cannot get it, and it came out in an admission in terms of the other side's lawyers, that they admitted that mistakes were made. So you can't now come and say, okay, mistakes are made, let's fix them. All right, it's
Yes.
people's lives you're dealing with. So that argument doesn't wash at all.
So Thalia, the other lawyer, she basically mentioned that the fundamental issue is safety. Because when this question was asked, can the government
Yes.
open and use the airport? Leslie's response was, when I made some notes here, he said there are quite a few problems because there's risk of civil liabilities. He said that
Yes.
technically the airport is unlawful. And he says here that there are
Mhm.
problems like sinkholes, safe runway, no proper EIA or consultation, risk of groundwater contamination. And if the government decides to proceed, there's huge litigation possibilities if things go wrong.
Yes, quite so. If you ask a pilot and the procedures that they have to go through before an aircraft can start its engine, much less to take off from a runway, it's a series of precise checks they have to make sure are in place. Now, given that that is what is required when human lives are at stake, and you're going to start off the game by not following the procedures that you should have followed at the planning stage before you even lay the first block to construct an airport. You decide that, oh, that's not important. I'm just going to bypass that. It's an airport you're talking about. How can you now come at this late stage to say, okay, it's already built, and so we can just forget about that? Because who can trust you at this stage? You are not trustworthy enough to follow your own laws with regards to checklist and making sure that things are in place. How are we going to trust you in the operation stage when you're operating that airport? You cut corners in the beginning, most likely you're going to cut corners at the end. And that's, as the lawyer said, it's over for huge litigation.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that everything that was said in the briefing today in the notes I made, I can share because I'm not sure if there's
Hmm.
anything that you can't share. Because with regards to the order of specific disclosure, I don't fully understand that, and I'd want
Hmm.
the audience to understand that a bit more. And if you understand it, you can let us know what Leslie was making reference to there.
Okay. Order for specific disclosure. Now, you're asking for a judicial review. That is what the case is about. It's a judicial review. In other words, we have a law in Antigua and Barbuda called the Physical Planning Act. And that law lays out certain stipulations. You have to do this first, that second, that third. You have to do certain things. It's the law. Okay. And you are challenging that. And one of the things we're challenging is that, look, we don't think that the proper environmental studies were done. We don't think that the proper planning permission was given. So, in order for the court to judge whether what we're saying is true or not, you would have to disclose, you would have to provide the actual evidence. If we're saying that we don't think a proper EIA was done, then disclosure means, okay, bam, here on the table. Here is the EIA. We're saying it was proper. Look at it. And disclosure is that we have been asking for the EIA from since 2017 and it's not been disclosed. And if you're going
Mm.
to judge a matter in the courts, you have to have full disclosure. And so that's why the lawyer says that one of the first things that we will be going for is full disclosure. You said you do an EIA, put it on the table. Let's examine it and let's see whether it was a proper one or not. Okay, that's what it's
Let's
about.
let's take our conversation to the place where we know the attitude and the movements of the government of Antigua and Barbuda and how they basically um, how can I say it? How they basically manage and do stuff. we see that the Privy Council, this case has been from since 2017. We're in 2023, 24. This case went all the way up to the Privy Council. Even during the Privy Council hearing, I think it's the Lord, I don't want to call it the wrong Lord, but one of the Lords was basically asking questions with regards to the consultation, and making it important for Barbudans to participate, making it important for have documentations being available for people to access, etc. John, you and I'm in the media. You're in the media too, and you're in Marine. You're also the high school, the principal for your school. You've had all your affidavit that you presented to the Privy Council. You've had your personal first-hand experience with how the government operates. The Privy Council has
Yes.
made this ruling. Do you believe, or are you confident that with this ruling, the government is going to do checks and balances moving forward, and the government is also going to check themselves now and make any changes that they need to make?
I have no confidence that they will, and I'm saying that based on my years of experience in terms of dealing with the government, the administration. When I say years of experience, Nikki, I have over 30 years of practical experience as a professional, a consultant, working to produce environmental impact assessments. I know what an environmental impact assessment is. My postgraduate studies at the University of the West Indies dealt specifically with managing and environmental matters, resource management, and EIA's environmental impact assessments was part of my dissertation in terms of knowing how to do that. So a practical experience as well as academic experience. And over the years, having worked on projects in Antigua and Barbuda, one of the things that have turned me off as a professional, so much so that you have to be good to get me to work on any EIAs. And it's the fact that these EIAs are done and they are just trucked into the jaws, and the recommendations and mitigation strategies and so on that are put in place are just not followed. So EIAs are looked at as just a tool to get approval, and then once the approval has been received, then it's forgotten. They just do what they feel like. And that has been the practice in Antigua and Barbuda, and why we have seen so much destruction in terms of our natural resources, our environment. Take, for example, Dickerson's Bay, okay, where the erosion and all these things are happening. We have just not followed those things. So I have no confidence in terms of what you're saying there. Okay.
So what's going to happen? What Barbudans are going to do? What is yourself going to do? What is Jackie going to do, and your lawyers? Because the government basically says that in a couple of weeks the airport will be opened. The government's lawyer is also saying, and still with the presentation and the argument that the airport is already built. I remember a couple of weeks ago, I had you on the platform and I mentioned to you that the Prime Minister made a comment regarding the Privy Council hearing and regarding the ripping up of the airport. That conversation came back again today in our in the briefing that was happening for media and everyone who attended. But you said to me a couple of weeks ago that you didn't get a chance to hear the Prime Minister's response on this Privy Council and having to dig up this airport. I have it and I want you to hear it now, because you can hear it now. The judgment is out, and we need to know what the next steps are. 1 second.
Okay.
And my understanding is that the Glen lawyers were telling the Privy Council that is just a little airstrip that can be ripped up. Them they like you forward. And I understand that our lawyers didn't stand up and make the Privy Councilors I don't know, sometimes that our people just afraid to speak when they challenge outside of Antigua and Barbuda, because plenty of them have plenty they're like local bullies. I am surprised that they didn't say, hold on, this is about $70 billion. You rip it up. Who gonna pay for it? Privy Council. Glenn gonna pay for it. The Barbuda Council gonna pay for it. Trevor Walker gonna pay for it. What other boy they name? Washington gonna pay for it. I want to them. Now I am not saying here that if that there are environmental issues, they should not be remedied. I'm not saying they don't have any locus. I'm not discussing the merits of the case.
Right.
But I don't know if foolishness is them. They telling the court how we must go and rip up the airport and block down everything. What kind of madness is that? $70 million for a developing country?
But what would that achieve?
Exactly.
Boy, you know what?
What would ripping it up achieve?
Well, I'm told that one of the Privy Councillors may have even commented the fact that maybe they should just stop the project and allow them to go elsewhere.
Just let it fade into nothing.
But then we will get the $70 million to build back an airport.
Allow who to go elsewhere?
Well, to make us build the airport elsewhere. I don't even just idle chatter, but I mean,
abandon one that is already there.
But I'm wondering. But what happened? I don't think that our people, and that is where our lawyers perhaps didn't speak up and to say to them, hey, this is an airport that is already built.
Already constructed.
All that is needed now is a single survey. And then we decommission the old one, or commission this one and decommission the old one. We're literally weeks away, maybe 2-3 weeks away.
Yeah.
And I can't believe that our attorneys just sat there and said nothing while some one of them Privy Councils is of the view that is some kind of insignificant strip that we can just go and rip up or abandon.
Care to comment, John? The Privy Council verdict is in, and yourself and Jackie has standing.
Nikki, first of all, it is really outrageous to sit here and hear a person holding such a position speak of things that are blatantly false. Okay, and I'm putting it nicely. You were there in the courtroom, Nikki, and I was there. And at no time did any of our lawyers or any of the judges of the Privy Council ever say that this was just a little insignificant thing and they must rip it off. That is a blatant falsehood. So what I'm hearing here is this individual setting up a scenario which is false, essentially to gain a certain type of emotion in his listeners to sway them to believe and think a particular way. That is really malicious and devious. You cannot tell lies just to paint a story to make your case. All right? Judges were at pains to point out they were sitting and they will only make a decision on the question of standing. It is up to the lower courts to make such a decision as to what the remedy will be. And the judge make the point, the remedy based on the precedents in the body of law that we reside under. The remedy can range from a number of areas, including putting back the place how you met it. That was what was discussed. And for the Prime Minister to sit there and paint the picture that there was the Privy Council judges or some lawyers were saying that, oh, it's only a little thing and they can just rip it up, and blaming his own lawyers for standing there and saying nothing. That is painting an entirely false picture of what actually transpired in the courtroom. And I think the Privy Council judges will take huge offense for them being misrepresented in that manner. That is outrageous. Come on. All right? That's my reaction, Nikki. It's the first time I'm hearing it, and it's really outrageous and shows the length to which people will go to make their case in terms of looking sympathy and that sort of thing. The fact of the matter is, if foolishness was done, you're dealing with people's lives. There's no life that you can put a price tag of $70 million on. If you had your child and you were using that airport because of the negligence, you did not follow the law, you did not put things in place, sure, on the question of safety and proper operational standards, and somebody lost their life, you think $70 million is going to satisfy you as a mother or father when that life is lost? That is what is at stake, and that's why it's outrageous that such a statement could have been made and misrepresentation of what actually happened. Okay, so that's my response to that, Nikki.
Let's talk about what happens next. Leslie said back in the courts, the case gets resurrected if right as the government, okay, he did mention this part here about if right as the government to tear it down and do it properly. I was making notes there, so I don't want to misinterpret what he was saying there, but he basically said that it
Mm-hmm.
isn't over yet, and we're up for a bigger fight dealing with the airport. That is going to, he basically said that you guys are up for a bigger fight. It's going to be it's not basically over now, back in the courts, the case being resurrected. The Your response to that, of course,
The
the what?
substantial matter has to be dealt with.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. Explain that for us, please. Or comment on that a little bit more for
In,
us.
in the case, yes, the case essentially is one where um, the case is being made that one side is saying, look, you did not follow the law, you did not follow the procedures that are laid down in black and white to ensure that the development goes according to standards, and at the end of the day, it doesn't cause harm to people. We're making that case, and so the judge will now have to sit down, look at the evidence, and see if that is a legitimate case to be made, and a ruling would be handed down. And what we're saying, if we are successful in making the case that this thing was orderly, corners were cut, procedures were not followed, and so therefore an unsafe situation exists, then if we make that case well enough, then the judge can make a ruling to say, hey, look, no, this cannot continue. You need to fix it. And fix it might mean to just put it back to the original how you met it, because this can't work. And that's up to the court, that's up to the judges to so make such a decision. All the point that the law is making, that these are the possibilities in terms of remedies. And that's up to the courts to make that decision. Okay?
I just wanted to add to when you mentioned about putting it back how it was. I think is the lawyer Thalia was, or it was Leslie that was talking about. If that judgment is made of putting it back together, that they'll have to be replanting trees and make the best attempt to put the land back to the best
Mhm.
state that they can, in how to the closest of how they have found it. John, congratulations again. You know, everyone
Yes,
has to
remedy.
say
Fix
happy.
what you
Yeah.
messed up is essentially.
Yes, that's what they're saying essentially. But I'm saying to you, and everyone is saying to you, congratulations to you and Jackie. You know, if anyone, and I think for anyone who might be joining now, maybe you might
Okay.
need to give them a little summary of, you know, according to what's in your affidavit, that even the Privy Council took that into consideration with regards to when you were asking questions, and then a police officer showed up at your house asking you not to, you know, show at the intimidation aspect of what you experienced throughout this whole ordeal. Maybe you can share a little bit on that.
Yes, the whole ordeal started in 2017. That's right after we were struck by a hurricane, and Barbudans were not permitted to leave the island. And imagine you're now back on the ground, and instead of homes being fixed, instead of electricity being put back on in any disaster, and you're in the dark, one would expect that the first thing you deal with is the human beings to make sure lives are put back together. And under that situation, you're seeing that forests are being pushed down, an airport is being built. And when you go and you inquire what's going on here, and you realize you've been told, okay, an airport is being fixed. And the next question is, have you gotten the necessary permits to do this? And the person can admit to you what you mean by permit, right? That is exactly what happened, Nikki. The question was asked of the project man, what you're doing here? Oh, we're clearing land to build an airport. Airport? Did you get the necessary permit from development control authority to do this? What do you mean development control? What permit you talking about? That is what happened, Nikki. So when you see situations like that, as a good citizen, right away, you know, hey, something wrong here. And as a good citizen, what is your responsibility? You make inquiries to find out what's going on here of the relevant authorities. And so I had the conversation with the chief town and country planner, who is in charge of giving permission. And he was not even aware that anything so was happening in Barbuda. Okay? So when you see things like that, grounds for questions. So the case was started. We protested, lodged the case, and then is when they came up with a so-called, well, Environment Department went and made their inspection, and the court documents would show what the Department of Environment said when they got on the scenes, because they too realized that proper procedures were not followed. And eventually, what turned up purporting to be an EIA report, the Environment Department was very specific in saying, look, this doesn't cut it. Okay? So that was the situation. And so we applied for an injunction to fix it. The injunction was granted. Later on, the injunction was lifted because of certain matters. They claimed there were certain procedural errors in filing the case. So the injunction was lifted. We then reapplied for the injunction, and we lost at the first hearing, went to the Caribbean Appeals Court, and lo and behold, in that sitting, they then came up with this strategy that we did not have standing. And that's when we decided, look, we need to go to the full extent at the Privy Council to demonstrate that we have standing so we can actually examine the real matter, which was that there was an airport built and proper procedures were not followed. That's the claim we are making. So we're now back to that situation where the Privy Council has determined that, yes, you do have the right to file such an action. And so we're now going back to the courts for the courts to determine whether or not proper procedures were followed. So there's where we are.
Imagine starting this from 2017, it's 2024, and the Privy Council is saying, yes, you do have standing now. There's already an airport. Well, it's not an airport because according to the Privy Council and according to laws, we can't say it's an airport. There's some work, construction work being done in Barbuda to build an airport, if I can put it that way. You said here that actually the plan...
And more importantly, Nikki, more importantly, Nikki, is not just construction work. Operating an airport requires certain licensing.
Yes.
Licensing is all about having things in place to guarantee people's lives and safety. And in order for you to get those things, certain things has to be in place, and they are not. Corners were cut from the beginning. And that's the difficulty that the PM is having. So in spite of him saying soon, it ain't happening because they're not meeting the regulatory standards that they're required to meet.
So you're saying the airport is not going to open?
No, they're trying to cut corners. They're trying to find workarounds. They're trying to find loopholes. Why would you trying to find loopholes when you're dealing with people's lives?
You did say that whatever we had in the briefing today can be shared. The question was asked to Leslie, and he mentioned that the airport authority reached out. So they want to discuss with you. They want to discuss to see what's the position for Barbuda, yourself and Jackie, or I know you're not able to give us much, but give us something.
No, well, what you heard in terms of that, we will have to sit down and determine what exactly is happening there. So I'm not aware of what exactly they're asking, and I don't think we have heard what they have asked. But bear in mind, Nikki, we have a situation where the head of airport authority actually resigned, and resigned because the integrity of the person who was holding that position, the person said, look, I cannot afford to compromise my integrity in that manner. That's the situation we're dealing with. So if now you're getting people to ask you to come and sit down and talk, somebody resigned because of what was being asked of them, you know. Okay, so these are things we have to consider. All
But
right.
Johnny, if I have time, I can find another recording and let you hear that the Prime Minister said that the new person who's in charge for the airport authority basically said to him that he can get stuff done within a 2 weeks or something like that. So the new person who's in charge of the airport authority is willing and able and ready.
And therein lies our problems. When you have situations where persons who hold these critical positions as gatekeepers, they follow the instruction of persons in the administration rather than following the law. We had a very important case in Antigua and Barbuda involving medical benefits. A particular civil servant was jailed, and one of the things that one of the judges said to the person who was jailed as a senior civil servant, you follow the law and not instructions. So if the prime minister is saying he has a person who will just do what he tells him to do, that person better think twice. Okay? Getting somebody to do what you tell them to do is not making things safe and following the law. And that is our problem in Antigua and Barbuda. People who are willing to compromise.
I don't want him to misinterpret what we're saying here. He didn't say that he'll get anybody to do what he said or what he instructs them to do. He said that the
Mhm.
gentleman said he can get the job done within 2 weeks.
Okay, I stand corrected, Nikki. I stand corrected and I follow what the person said.
The guy can get
I
the
was just going off of what I interpreted, what I heard said, and remembering what happened to civil servants who were in similar situations.
you know, we got to be very careful about that one.
Yes, very
But
much so.
I definitely want to thank you again, for making yourself available. I know that today was a very packed day for you from this morning when you got up, getting the news. Even this news, I know nobody would really truly understand how you feel with such a vindication. I think the Privy Council,
Yes.
they made an attempt to really have you see that and feel that. When they mention you and
Mhm.
they mention your expertise, they mention your skills. They mentioned that you do have standing because of your knowledge. And I think one of the reasons why they did that, again, is to validate you and what you do, but it also basically eliminates every single negative thing that the prime minister has said about you or those within the prime
Yes.
minister circle that has said about you, whether you're not really, you're knowledgeable, you don't know what you're talking about, you just basically want to be an
Mhm.
obstructionist, you just want to be, all these other
Mhm.
derogatory terms and labels. But at the highest level of the People's Court or the Appeals Court, the Privy Council acknowledges your skills, your expertise, and the value that you bring to this particular case. So I really want to congratulate you on that. That's not an easy feat at all. It hasn't been. And I don't think anybody should take that lightly.
Yes, and I have to congratulate you, Nikki, in
Hey.
terms of breaking that down just now in terms of what actually happened. Because it's not easy to stand up, to sit down and listen to a lawyer in a court saying, oh, that boy there, he studied things in sea, where he know about things on land. Right? Making a statement like that and having judges sitting on at that level following and agreeing with that and totally ignoring common sense, right? And people's words that when you actually are involved in these environmental impact assessments and so on, it's not a simple thing. And you can't just discount people's expertise like that. And then above and beyond that, the point is made that you do not have to be an expert with expertise to have standing.
Mhm.
Okay? And that's the point that the Privy Council made. Okay? And that, as you say, it's validation in terms of realizing that you do have people in the world who will acknowledge and show good sense in terms of errors that were made. And we're very grateful for that, and the feeling is good at this stage. Okay.
Of course, you should have a very good night's sleep. In conversation today, somebody was saying, what would have happened to us as an Antigua and Barbuda if we had chosen the CCJ? What's your comment to that?
Well, as the position, I maintain the position that many of us took. We here in Barbuda, okay, in that referendum, we voted overwhelmingly to maintain the Privy Council. And the main reason we did that was that we felt there was a better chance in terms of our experience in the courts. And basically, this showed we have our Caribbean court adopting a position that these people are just busybodies, they don't have no standing, and just going against basic common sense. You really, it's bizarre. That's the word I have to use for when you realize that such a decision could have been made. And so you have to ask why. And obviously, there are certain weaknesses in our system down at the law level, and that is the position which many Antiguans and Barbudans took with respect to that referendum. Fix weaknesses down there first. We're not saying that we don't have confidence in our own people, but we understand our court system. It's not just recently we have judges which are put up before disciplinary tribunals or whatever they call them and found that something is wrong. That is explaining something needs to be fixed down there. And that's all we're saying. Fix that first. And then we can go to the higher levels in terms of where we need to go. There's where the biggest problem is. Okay?
All right. So I have written down here, what do you want to leave with us tonight? Then I want to ask you to give all the individuals your thanks, because there's so many individuals who have been working with yourself and Jackie to make this possible. And then I'm going to ask the question if you visited the site or if anyone is allowed to visit that site or that area where the work is happening for the Barbuda airport.
Well, let me start with the last one first. Last Saturday, I actually passed by the site, and I'm sure you would have seen certain videos going around. And the thing that struck me was the disparity, the discrimination. One thing for one set of persons and another thing for another set of persons. The other thing that was striking is that in anticipation for some grand opening, you had a set of landscaping happening. Now, I know landscaping work. I know plants. I love plants. And you just don't take out a living tree, stick it in the ground for a particular 2-hour ceremony, just so that it looks green. And then when that ceremony would have passed, the tree dies. And that is what I saw on Saturday. The quick attempt to pretty up a place by just sticking plants in the ground to make everything look good. But then when the big grand fanfare and so on finish, you see the emperor really has no clothes. And when you're going to take that approach, when you're dealing with infrastructure that involves people's lives, it is a serious thing, Nikki. And that is one thing that stood out. So that's the last part of it. What would I say? Something to leave to the citizen. It is your responsibility. We're living in a nation of laws. The laws go for everybody. There's not one set of laws for some people, and then other set of people, they get a pass. The law doesn't apply to them. No, it doesn't work that way. And as citizens, when we see disparity like that, we need to speak up, stand up, say something, because if we don't say something, then our society will fall apart. So that's one message that I want to leave with people. You are never too small to effect change. The law is there for everybody. Use it, and you owe it to your grandchildren and to society to make sure you take action, to make sure that the mechanisms we have for a good society, those mechanisms work. That's the second thing I need to leave for people. Remind me of the third thing you asked me.
Who you want to thank?
There are three things, yeah.
And now I have a fourth
Oh,
one.
yes.
What's on your shirt? And now that's the fourth one. What's on your shirt? Because I didn't get one of those. You did say that you're going to give me a Barbuda
This
pass.
is so when you come, Nikki, we'll have one ready for you. Okay, and notice what he says: home,
yes,
not for sale. So home, not for sale. Me, you see, Emmy, me, not for sale. You see, Barbuda, not. You see, land, land not for sale. And our flag for self-determination, that's what this is about. Okay? Good citizens standing up for what we want. We are peaceful people and we reserve the right to ensure that we live in a clean and healthy environment, which is a human right, according to the United Nations now. And as Barbudans, we have been maintaining this beautiful gem. When you come, Nikki, the last time you here and you smell that fresh air, and it reminds you of the Amazon rainforest, the
Yes, yes,
cleanest air on earth. I've been there, Nikki.
yes. What you saying?
So,
So,
so
yeah, thanks. As
yeah,
you,
and in
you're,
terms,
yes.
yeah, there's so many persons, and let me start first because the our lawyers, Garden Court Chambers in the UK, in London, they are a group of people that Leslie Thomas and his team. I'm not going to even try to go on the Garden Chambers site, and you see the list of sterling persons there. And I want to thank every single one of them because they did this work pro bono in terms
Mm.
of helping
Ah,
us, and it's their way of helping society and doing the good with the knowledge that they have, knowledge and expertise. So you can't thank them enough in terms for taking this case. Now, um, it's an expensive thing to take these actions, and so we have to thank the Global Legal Action Network. They stepped on board in terms of providing some of the necessary finances, and they could not have done it. And I'm talking about Geroyd O'Quinn and his team. And everybody go on the GLAN website and you see the team of persons, sterling persons who are working on that. And it's not just Barbuda they have worked with. There are several cases worldwide that involve human rights and so on that GLAN has worked with. And so we have to thank them in terms of providing
John. John.
if it did not come down to the ordinary persons who went online, clicked on that GoFundMe button, and won full basket, the contributions, those good citizens out there, Barbudans, friends of Barbudans, ordinary world citizens who understand for this planet Earth. There are certain things that we as human beings must stand up for, and they put their ones and twos into the little kitty, and that is what has helped us. So, more than anything else, I need to thank all those persons. And of course, the network that we have formed, Stronger Caribbean Together. Remember that? Stronger Caribbean Together, all one word, .org. When you click on that website, you're going to see Belize come up on the mares. You're going to see Jamaica come up. You're going to see Puerto Rico come up. You're going to see Grenada come up. You're going to see New Providencia come up in Colombia. You're going to see Haiti come up. You know, all these places have in common what we are going through in Barbuda are the very same things these people are going through. And we managed to find each other and we have formed a network and we have discussed things among ourselves. And in unity and knowledge, we gain strength in terms of going forward because we see the big picture and we see what's going on and we help each other. Stronger Caribbean together and all the network partners, all these persons who have called. It's a network of loving, supportive people. So when I feel it in Barbuda and we reach out and we get support, and when somebody's in Grenada or Haiti or Jamaica or Belize or New Providencia, they're getting problems, or Puerto Rico, we reach out and we talk and confident. Together, we're stronger. Okay? So those are the persons I want to highlight, and those links I've pointed out to you. Just click on them and follow up, and you'll see the big picture in terms of the tremendous movement we have going forward in helping ourselves. Okay.
And
And
Jackie,
last
Jackie,
but not least, Nikki,
Jackie,
I have to thank you, Nikki, for
me,
giving the voice and the opportunity. Yes.
of
Okay.
course, of course.
You have been there as a journalist. You were there with us in that cold courtroom. You were there before the proceedings to get the word out there and to stir up the posse in terms of coming and filling up that courtroom. And that made a big difference, as you would have seen, as what
Oh,
went down. And of course, my colleague, Barbudans, Jackie, and others, because there are many of our supporters there on the ground that gave us the support through all these years. It's not easy, Nikki, but the support was there because we got, okay, we are fighting for this. And they never let us forget what we're fighting for. Okay,
and
good.
Jackie did try to join a few times, but she was having some issues with the connection and the audio and so on. So I do apologize to her for that. I'll try and catch her
Mhm.
separately and do a little short interview just to give her that too, because her voice must be heard also. But John, I really want to
Yes,
thank you
definitely.
sincerely. We trust that you have a very good rest tonight. And I would always say, and I'm still going to say, just keep all eyes all over. And you know what I mean when I say keep
Yes.
all eyes all over, and just stay alert, just pay attention, and just keep paying attention and take nothing for granted. I really gotta
I
tell you.
hear you, Nikki, and
Yeah,
I understand completely. Yes,
exactly. Yeah.
definitely.
So take care, all my love. Big hugs from the UK. When you coming again?
Well, I can't say, but yeah, when y'all warm up some,
That's in a few months. We're
that
getting
cold
there.
night.
We're getting there.
Okay.
Take
Yeah,
care.
but definitely see you soon, Nikki, and thanks. Good dinner to you, side.
This summer.
Okay.
Take care. Blessings. All right, guys.
All right.
That was
Bye.
John. Take care. Take
Good.
care, John. Guys, that was John. That was our exclusive. Yes, John is my friend. Yes, John is my friend. Let the world know. John is my friend. John is a strong man. John is a motivator. John is a man who stands on his word, and he's an inspiration to many. And even with all of what has happened here with the Privy Council, I mean, nobody have any idea the intimidation, everything that he's faced, the depth of it. And we are here. We're here today, the 27th, the day of February 2024, and the Privy Council, the highest court of appeal, highest of the courts, has declared that John and Jackie has standing in this particular case that they've brought against the government of Antigua and Barbuda, the DCA, and the Antigua and Barbuda Airport Authority. John and Jackie, John Mussington, Jackie Frank, they have standing in this case to say that there are certain procedures, planning procedures were not followed. They're asking to see the EIA, the Environmental Impact Assessment. And I want to thank Martin Dudley, because Martin, of course, know that we want to always educate our listeners. And of course, the UNEP defines the Environmental Impact Assessment as a tool used to identify the environmental, social, and economic impacts of a project prior to decision making. So that's a key document that's very much needed. So I want to thank you tonight for joining me. I have another topic I want to speak about, but not on this platform. And I want to thank you very much for sharing this live video, even watching it afterwards, and getting the word out for Barbuda and the victory for Barbuda, victory for Antigua and Barbuda. And again, like Gerard Faglan said, no one is against development. Everybody just want everything done, which is important, by the books. Follow the laws, do what you do. Don't just take what you want. All right. Before I get into that mode, I'm going to wrap up. Tell you guys thanks for joining. Stay blessed, stay focused. Saturday night, every Saturday, 8 p.m., right here on Free Press 268 and my Lady Nikki Phoenix page. I host Phoenix Free Press Saturday night at 8 p.m. Your topic for this week is going to be education. So stay tuned. Join us. Be blessed. Take care, guys. Gotta run.